Alright, hey guys, this is Ubernat here, and I'm going to be showing you today how to play Jungle Morgana and kind of the viability of her. This isn't going to be a full game or anything, I'm just going to load into a custom game, do my first clear, explain my runes masteries, and hopefully you guys can, start playing some Jungle Morgana. Pretty off meta, lot of fun. So, first, let's talk about runes. I like to take Hybrid Penetration because you will be auto-attacking those jungle creeps and you'll be auto-attacking on your ganks. It helps increase your damage a little with those auto-attacks. I think it's pretty important. Hybrid Pens are pretty expensive though if you don't have a lot of IP, so Magic Pen are perfectly fine if you don't have these. Next are Armor Yellows. These are especially important in the jungle, especially since we're on patch 5.4. Jungle creeps are still very strong. I do believe patch 5.5 will reduce the power of jungle creeps a little bit more. Um, so you could probably get away with something else on patch 5.5 and beyond. But patch 5.4 right now, flat armor is where it's at for basically every jungler. I take flat ability power blues. You can take scaling. Scaling does work. Um, but flat ability power blues are going to help you out more on that first clear as opposed to scaling ability power blues. Lastly, I take Spellvamp Quintessences, a little bit, Spellvamp Quints, and it's going to give us a lot of sustain, and it does help out later in the game with getting out of those little sticky scenarios. Spellvamp's fantastic on Morgana, it synergizes with their passive. I like these over flat AP on Morgana. Another thing you can take here, besides the flat AP or Spellvamp, is movement speed, which is fantastic on Morgana also. I prefer the Spellvamp overall. That's more of a personal preference though. For Masteries, I have them all up right now. This is what I like to take, and I'm going to explain it all. So first, in the offense tree, I'm only taking 5% CDR. That's the only thing I need, because my game plan is I am going to build a Magnus enchantment, which is 20% CDR already, and I'm going to build Boots of Lucidity, which give me 15% CDR. That adds up to 35% CDR plus another 5% from sorcery, and I'll be at the CDR cap in the game without overspending any CDR, which means I'm not losing any gold worth of stats. That's why I take it. Next is in the defensive tree. I take recovery instead of block because recovery helps you more as a jungler. Block is great if I'm trying to play Lee Sin or someone who's going to be constantly trying to fight the other jungler or constantly ganking lanes as opposed to farming. But since I probably will be avoiding fights pre-6 against the other jungler, and I probably won't have as many ganks as a Lee Sin per se, maybe I will. Maybe I will, but maybe I won't. I like to take recovery. It'll regen the whole time you're clearing. It's a pretty underrated mastery on the jungler. Tough Skin, reduce damage I take from neutral monsters, the jungle. Pretty great on someone like Morgana, who's not typically the best clearer, especially early. Bladed Armor, basically the same reason, helps you out in the jungle. Veteran Scars I take because it's free health. I mean, the odds of a Morgana getting invaded by a Jarvan, by a Pantheon, by Kha'Zix even, Udyr, Xin Zhao, they're pretty high. So a little extra health, it helps. I take 3 points in hardiness for the extra armor. This will help you immensely on that first clear. It's very important. Especially since if you do get invaded, odds are the person invading you is an AD jungler. About the only exception right now of someone who would be invading you that's not AD is Nidalee. That's the only one I can think of. I don't think there's any other jungler who's going to invade you who's not Nidalee. Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks can invade you. Fiddlesticks is a very strong level too. Yeah, that's about it. So I prefer next one. You may notice I do not take points in Juggernaut for the 3% maximum health. 3% maximum health by level 18 on a Morgana is not going to... I'm not going to build a whole lot of health items to begin with. And maybe I will, and maybe it will be kind of useful, but what will be more useful 100% of the time is oppression. We have so much CC in our kit. We have a snare, we have a slow, we have a stun, and with all that, taking less damage from everyone else is very important. So I think oppression is a lot better than Juggernaut. Next I take Phase Walker. You can choose to take Phase Walker or Scout. Both will be useful. I prefer Phase Walker, Scout's also really useful. Yeah, it's just preference. I take Fleet of Foot for the increased movement speed. That can help you out a lot in just jungle speed, coming up for a gank. What you'll most probably notice the difference in though is when you're casting your ultimate and you're trying to keep up with everyone so they don't leave the circle, so then you can get the stun off. That's where move speed is most important on Morgana. Next we take Summoner's Insight. It reduces the cooldown on our flash, which we should be using a lot, especially with our ultimates or maybe a flash binding, all kinds of good stuff. It also affects Smite, and it should be affecting Smite properly now. I know there was a bug in 5.2 or something where it wasn't affecting Smite, but it should be affecting it now. Next two are Alchemist and Culinary Master. These should be pretty simple. Basic, I mean, they give us more sustain, we have better potions, and we need that on someone like Morgana jungle. I take Vampirism for the extra spell vamp. Very strong on Morgana, works with their passive, works on everything. Spell vamp on Morgana, it's just, your clears will be fantastic come a little bit into the game. They're a little rough early, they'll be fantastic later. I take Runic Alchemy because we're a jungler, so it helps to have the longer duration on red buff and blue buff. And we are a little mana intensive sometimes, that's why we get Trailblazer, because Trailblazer helps us with the mana sustain. Next I take Wealth. The extra starting gold is pretty important for that extra potion. That extra potion will go a long ways. Anyways, so we're going to go into a custom game right now. We're going to create this game, have one person, and no one to spectate because I don't need anyone. We're going to load in, take Morgana.
We'll bring them pain.
Have my spell vamp. Correct masteries. There we go. So I haven't really made this kind of video before. I'm really hoping you guys enjoy it. And if you're subscribed to me and maybe this isn't the kind of video you want to be watching, this is probably what the majority of my content will be from here on out. Not all of it, but for the majority of my content, I plan on making videos like this. I'll still have some Rubik's Cube videos. I'll have a couple tutorial videos on other things that are technology related. But for the most part, it's going to be League of Legends. So, an important thing on junglers is you usually start bottom side because you'll have two people there to help you leash and get a better leash. But on Morgana specifically, I like to just always start Gromp. With a Gromp start, it's just, you get the extra damage, it helps you out a lot more than the stun. And I prefer Gromp on Morgana. So I'll prioritize it, take the little bit of extra damage, a little bit longer just because of that. Another reason why people like to start bottom lane is because it sets them up for a level 3 gank top, which is the longest lane and usually the easiest to gank. Morgana specifically, since I always start Gromp, if I'm gonna do a level 3 gank, then I'll gank mid lane. So I'll clear my second buff, whether it be top side or bottom side, and I'll come in for a level 3 gank mid lane. Don't always do it, but if you see the opportunity, that's the perfect place to be. I start W and I'll be maxing W. I max Q second. With the W on Morgana, it's fantastic for clearing the jungle, and even though you get the longer snare duration with Q, it's gonna hurt you if you start to max that. So I go for W. As you can see, we have 19% spell vamp. That's huge. It's going to apply the full spell vamp on our Q, which will be really large and really hard hitting once we have some AP.
Feel my pain.
So we're going to go take this, and I'm going to smite it right away. what smiting it does is it gives you the passive buff thing from the Grump, which is pretty nice because the Grump can do a lot of damage if you're just letting it hit its damage over time on you. I'm going to pop a potion as I come up to blue buff, auto attack it, Q snare, and then throw down my Tormented Soil. And we're just going to keep that same combo, snare and Tormented Soil. Pop another potion. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to not kite any of my buffs. I'm going to assume that kiting is a more advanced per se jungle tactic on a ranged jungler, and I'm going to do this video in jungle clear like the worst possible way per se. I'm just going to tank every possible auto attack just to show you. Red's super easy because we'll have the shorter cooldown and we'll be able to smite it for health. Throw down our smite, get tons of health back. Our last little bit, there it goes, it's dead. I have a potion 3/4 of the way done and I'm 3/4 health. That's fantastic. Even if a jungler showed up, you can just snare them. And then let's say I'm playing mid lane, here we go, throw it down, and you know, that's your gank. I mean, you don't have to flash, but we had full health, not full health, we had 3/4 health going into the gank. I mean, that's fantastic on a jungler for a level 3 gank. And then from here on out, you can just have your Ranger's Trailblazer if you want faster clears, keep up with that mana management. If not, Skirmish's Saber and Stalker's Blade are both good choices. Stalker's Blade is the better choice because you slow them down, you steal their move speed, it helps you get them in your ult, it's the all-around better choice. I like to go into Stalker's Blade most games if I'm feeling aggressive. If not, then I go into Ranger's Trailblazer and I farm up. You'll still have excellent ganks. So that concludes this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave some comments, maybe some suggestions or anything. I am a jungle main in North American server. I was Silver 1 last season and I'm Silver 2 right now. I am not the best player, but I feel I have an adequate amount of game knowledge and I feel like I can show you guys a lot of really cool things. In the sense of, I've been playing a decent amount of Jungle Morgana. Jungle Morgana is not a typical jungler. So expect to see a lot of videos similar to this, where we're going to play full games and videos like this, where it's just the tutorial kind of sense on some off-meta picks. I like to play jungle brand, I like all kinds of cool stuff. So I hope you found this interesting, and you know, I'd like a little bit of feedback if it's not too hard. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm off. Have a good day.